Hey guys, and welcome to Tesla Red EV News Weekly, episode 17, and we're on the 13th of October 2024. Obviously, a big week with the We Robot Cybercab reveal that just occurred. So plenty to talk about this week. I've also just posted a link to the Ko-fi page, which thanks to Sensei for recommending. If you'd like to support the channel, there's another option there without all the only going to YouTube rather than to the creators. But anyhow, I'll get started on the content for this week. Make sure to jump in the chat there. Let us know who's viewing. And especially as we go through some of these slides for the We Robot Cybercab reveal, I'm definitely keen to hear from you guys and hear what you thought about it. Hey, Hal, good to see you here. So yeah, that's the Cybercab. So we had the reveal on Friday, our time, Australia. They had 20 of these vehicles on display. I think it's something that's definitely going to turn heads and get some attention. It's a nice looking design. It's definitely a design that's there to fit a purpose and be a cheap build that will be easily cleaned, and it's going to be a great ride sharing type vehicle. Only 2 seats, obviously, which depending on who you listen to, 85 to 90% of Uber and taxi rides are 1 or 2 people, and most Uber drivers I talk to say that almost all of my 1-person rides. So it certainly fits that bill. And obviously the Model 3s and Ys and other Tesla vehicles can accommodate the 3s and 4s, and we'll also look at the Robovan, as Elon liked to call it, a bit later on. So yeah, they had 20 of these on display. So look, it's a prototype generally is just a one-off vehicle that barely drives. These things were definitely put on display and put through the ringer, with thousands of people getting rides in them. So it's definitely well beyond the prototype stage. But 20 of these plus 30 current generation Model 3s and Ys doing full autonomous driving as well. It was very impressive. Apparently about 200-mile range, which is more than enough for this sort of vehicle. The important thing is to keep that battery small, to keep costs down, make it most efficient. Some basic math gives it about a 38 kilowatt hour battery, which again, that's all you need for this sort of a vehicle. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how quickly these get produced. From what I've seen of Elon recently, he's obviously had a history of being very over-optimistic. But at the same time, no one gives him credit that a lot of things he has announced have come in well ahead of schedule, like the Model Y, the Shanghai factories, both the Mega Factory and the Megapack factory, which is currently well ahead of production. I wouldn't be surprised if we see this one come through faster than indicated, especially given they've got so many produced already. Obviously, it's only done on a temporary production line currently. It's not they haven't got a full production line up and running, but it'll be interesting to see how it does come out. Hey, Kev, good to see you, mate. So apparently all these vehicles were also running FSD version 13. So that's also very reassuring that they're at a stage where they were happy to have these cars driving around in such a high-profile event and in such a busy event with all the cars and bikes and quad bikes and everything, people walking across a road. it definitely okay, Kev. It definitely could have been a disaster if FSD 13, if they weren't very confident that it was up to scratch. So that's a very positive sign again that the recent roadmap they posted, they seem to be well on the way. And fingers crossed, that could mean we may see FSD in Australia in the first half of next year. So that's the view of the car with the tailgate open, so plenty of storage space. I don't think it's got a frunk by the looks of things, but definitely plenty of space there for 2 people worth of luggage. Welcome back, Kev. Welcome back. Expected price, they're saying below $30,000. Now it's going to require a subscription for FSD, so I'm assuming that'll be with a subscription model. Whether they still will offer FSD as an outright purchase remains to be seen. And possibly, that maybe there's a way that you can utilize the vehicle and the FSD cut gets taken out of the fare if you don't have FSD. I'm not sure how that's going to all work. There wasn't too much detail on that side of things. But whichever way it goes, it's going to be an ongoing revenue stream for Tesla, which is fantastic. Yeah. I mean, there's room in there for a wheelchair, but you still got to be able to get in and out of the car. And if you've got someone to assist you, maybe that could work. And maybe the Robovan might help fill that need as well. But something smaller, a smaller van might be an option there. So look, build costs people are estimating in the $15,000 to $20,000 range, based on the design and what it's made out of. It's some sort of plasticky material. Obviously not painted, so that makes things a lot cheaper to build. And very simple. There's no the white. There's even the window up and down controls are in the center console, so there's no wiring needed through the doors. There's a whole heap of cost savings they've implemented to make this thing an affordable vehicle to get out there en masse and do the job it needs to do without any bells and whistles. That's all it needs to do. Compare that to a Waymo, which you're looking at about $200,000 a piece to cost for them to build one. So, you're looking at less than a tenth of the cost for a much more capable vehicle that's going to be able to go anywhere and not be geo-fenced eventually. So, look, I was very impressed with it. Definitely keen to hear your guys' opinions as well, but there's the inside of the vehicle. Again, very simple, but comfortable chairs. Everyone who had the rides commented they're extremely comfortable, felt like you're sitting in a couch. Obviously, you're not driving, so you don't need any sort of performance chairs or anything like that, just there to serve a purpose. They showed the automatic cleaning, which is a great idea as well. Obviously, they've got it's called the charging, the contactless charging. Can't think of the word for it now, but just drive it over a charging pad to charge it up, have it automatically park over a charging pad. So no need to have anything to plug it in to a charger, which makes more sense. Not sure the efficiencies on that. It'd be great to see some details on that as they release them. We've obviously talked about that in the inductive charging. Sorry, I had a mental blank there. We've talked about that in the past, given that Tesla bought out a company that was developing inductive charging. It'll be interesting to see if that's something that comes to the other vehicles at all. But like I said, the big question I have on that is the efficiency of the charging. That'll be interesting to see if any details coming out. Hal, I'm not sure. Who knows what they've developed? I wouldn't put it past them to come up with some way of of making a higher speed feasible. But my question definitely is on the efficiency of it all. So that'll be interesting to see. So they talked about unsupervised FSD in Texas and California next year. My information I've received is that they're planning to make the first cybercab rides between Dallas and Austin, Texas, as the first step. So they'll have a cybercab ride service operating between those two cities, and that'll be the first step at some point next year. The actual cybercab itself, they're saying 2026. We'll wait and see how accurate that is. As I've said, there's been hits and misses with timeframes, especially with FSD, but you can expect that when it's something that hasn't been done before. But they're definitely looking very close now, especially when you look at the cars driving around car parks now with actual smart summon. That's pretty amazing what they're doing already. Yeah, that's definitely another concern. Although I'm assuming there'll be no one in the car when it's being charged. But look, there's a lot of details there that we'd like to see, and hopefully they'll be forthcoming as time goes on. All right, so look, as Elon called it, the Robovan, or the Robovan, if you want to call it that. Look, many of the things we talked about and the predictions that were made did come true. We had talked about the possibility of a van and a small car, inductive charging. The shape pretty much is what was expected. The Cybervan, that looks amazing. 20 people, that's pretty impressive. The possibilities with that too, immediate thing that came to mind for me was a mobile home, like a small caravan type thing. Imagine being able to have that as a small caravan that, you go out to a city and look around or an area and go to sleep, and it takes you to another area while you're sleeping and wake up at a new location. Even if they get a bigger version as a mobile home type RV type setup, that would be amazing. Some other applications. This apparently was on the screen inside the van on the night. So another possibility as far as a use case for it. And Hal, that's right. There wasn't much detail at all, and we don't know when they're looking at this one coming out. I'm guessing it's going to take longer than the Cybercab by the way they presented it, but it certainly has amazing possibilities. But look, I think having that as a motorhome, driving around the country and being able to go to sleep and wake up in a new location, not having to drive, would be an amazing possibility. Now, of course, being the We Robot event, the other big feature item was the Optimus robot. Having them walking around people, serving drinks. Obviously, they did say there was some level of teleoperation involved in that. But still, there's not many, if any. I don't think I've seen any robot of any other companies that are developing these sorts of robots allow them anywhere near people at this stage. So it is it shows they're quite confident in the development process. They're much further along than I thought to be have that much confidence. So that was fantastic to see, serving drinks, and obviously the voices were all remote operators talking to people, But from what I understand, there was some level of autonomy in that, and some level of control as far as when it was moving around people and that kind of thing. But still, regardless, it definitely was a great demonstration of the capabilities, and fantastic to see. So yeah, look, overall the event, I wouldn't say it exceeded expectations. It definitely didn't disappoint. It was pretty much what I expected. There was always a lot of talk about that one more thing and the big surprise, and I kind of did expect some sort of big surprise. The rover van maybe could be counted as that, though I did expect some sort of a van. So look, the lower cost vehicle, I've seen a lot of people disappointed they didn't release that. I don't think it was time to do that. They've always said that's going to be next year. Doesn't make sense to try and release that in Osborne, the current generation vehicles. There's I'm torn, and there's some discussion about whether it's going to be a version of the Cybercab. It's obviously going to have 4 seats, I think. So I don't think it'll be a version of the Cybercab. I think it's probably going to be more likely a smaller version of the Model 3. So based on the same architecture as the Model 3, but maybe a hatch. That could be interesting. So look, I don't think there was any chance they were going to be talking about it at this event. It wasn't the focus of the event, and if it's not going to ship till sometime next year at the earliest, and they've only really said they're going to reveal it next year. They haven't said they're going to ship it next year. Model Y Juniper will come first, I think, and I think that'll be early next year when they release that. And again, there's just no need for them to Osborne those cars when they're doing so well already. I was hoping there may be a firm announcement on China FSD, but who knows what's happening there as far as regulations, that kind of stuff. It seems like they're pretty far along by what's being sort of rumoured, but obviously we don't know anything specific. User partnerships would have been fantastic if they were ready to go. It was interesting that the Stellantis president was there as a VIP, and very much, not hiding the facts. So there could be something to read into that. But yeah, look, 50 autonomous cars all moving around a fairly tight space, and some of those cars, just the standard cars we have on the roads now that people are driving, is a pretty massive feat. They were moving around those quad bikes. So I saw quad bikes riding around in the same areas as the cars were driving. They had people walking, different vehicles, the Cybertruck, the Model Ys, etc. So yeah, look, there's massive. It's a massive event. They didn't Osborne any of the existing products. McDonald's wasn't a factor, so that rumor was not related as we expected. We just talked about last week. So yeah, fantastic news. Yeah, so Tesla did buy the cattle equipment. That was some time ago now, to be able to produce LFP's batteries in the US, which is an important factor as far as getting the costs down of the current Inflation Reduction Act, and being eligible for those bonuses. So definitely LFP is going to be a battery I almost guarantee in this vehicle, and being able to produce them in the US is definitely a big thing as well. All right. So we talked last week about some sales figures, and there was a question there from Hell, I think it was, about Australian sales figures. So I managed to pull up the latest through the end of September. Look, I think Tesla's still obviously dominating. We've got both Model 3 and Model Y doing extremely well, and definitely dominating the EV market. September was definitely a good month. It's definitely not useful to focus on a single month, particularly with Tesla sales. You get the shipments that come from Shanghai that come in spurts as they do their right-hand drive runs, and manage to get them on a ship them out here. So there's going to be ups and downs throughout the year. So I think zooming out and looking at the total figures is a better approach, or looking at quarterly figures rather than a single month. But looking at those figures, we're definitely heading in the right direction. I don't see any issues there at all. And compared to the fall off in other vehicles, Tesla's doing very, very well. Some of those vehicles have fallen off pretty dramatically in their sales numbers. So looked at the number of the Shanghai did their millionth export we talked about last week. So over 10% of all the exports from Shanghai have come to Australia, which is pretty impressive. Australia's sort of punching above its weight, I think, as far as EV sales goes in the region, which is great to see. So we've had a record Q3 overall worldwide. Q4 is generally the best quarter for vehicle sales, so hopefully we'll see a strong finish to the year. I'm really expecting that the sales for this year will be as good or better than last year. So we'll wait and see how that pans out. Model Y is definitely on track to remain the best-selling vehicle in the world. Fantastic again for the second year running. I think for the first time, it'll become the best-selling vehicle in the US. It's right on the cusp of that right now, and trending towards achieving that. Yeah, Kev, exactly. It's there's definitely a concerted effort out there to paint a different picture. However, if you look at the actual data, there's no question at all that EV sales are definitely doing well. And it's been a tough year, and they're generally more expensive sticker prices than the equivalent ICE vehicles. So obviously, people are having to cut back. They're not going to go for a more expensive vehicle, even though if they actually sit down and work it out, it does work out much cheaper in the long run. So yeah, look, I expect interest rates coming down next year will be a much better year. The other factor, and the other reason why the media may have been mistaken, or if you give them the benefit of the doubt, is that legacy auto are kind of shielded from these sorts of downturns because they make their sale when the vehicle goes to the dealership. So they can ship their vehicles to the dealership, and whether they're getting sold or not to customers doesn't matter. It still counts as a sale for them. Whereas Tesla, it's only a sale when it actually gets to the customer. So that's why Tesla feels the hurt from these sort of downturns much quicker, and the dealers sort of lag. So it still looks like they're selling cars at a good rate, and then months later they start to have that big hit. But it's going to hit them even more, because what happens with the legacy auto is that these vehicles that have been sitting in showrooms for 3-6 months, or in store yards or whatever the dealers have them stored, then end up having to get really heavily discounted, because the legacy model is that these vehicles only have a short shelf life. They're getting updated every 6 or 12 months, so the 6-month-old vehicle is just not going to sell. Whereas a Tesla 2019 Model 3 is pretty much the same as a 2024 Model 3 or 2023 Model 3. So look, it's going to be much worse for the legacy again. And we can see Tesla's already kind of bounced back from that downturn and heading the right direction. So, yeah, look, maybe if you give them the benefit of the doubt, the media might have been fooled by those figures if they didn't look into it. I doubt it. I think they knew exactly what they were doing, but it's sometimes a combination of just lazy journalism, and sometimes it's a bit more than that. Yeah. Good stuff. I wish I had heard that one. That would have been good. But yeah, look, yeah, I don't have any problems with people buying nice vehicles, and that's the thing. It's funny, these people that are so anti-EV and trying to, you know, they obviously see it as a threat. They know that you know, ICE days are limited because just the fact that they're just not you know, they just can't compete. So look, I can understand they feel a bit threatened, but yeah, it's just silly. Hey, Mark, yeah, definitely good work, Al. All right, so Cybertruck is going back to Adelaide. So that's my understanding. It's going to go to Queensland after that. So look, 15th of October there. I'm not sure how long it'll be there for, but for Kev there, definitely get a chance to check that out if you can. Let us know what you think. It was very impressive to see in person. So yeah, it's still making its way around the country, and it's been quite a while in Perth, so it was great to see. So hopefully it'll spend enough time in Adelaide that everyone will get a chance to have a look at it, and then make its way up to the Sunshine State. So other news, DHL have been trialling the Tesla Semi. Their comments were that the vehicle, really exceeded their own expectations. But not only that, they exceeded Tesla's advertised specs. They were quite impressed that even Tesla's efficiency and range specs, that they were able to get much better than those. And like I've said previously, this is still very much a prototype. They're still refining this vehicle, so it's going to get better again. But that's very reassuring. Their trial included a haul of 625 kilometres with a weight of 75,000 pounds on a single charge. So they stated that the vehicle can do everything they needed to do for their long-haul DHL operations. So yeah, fantastic to see. Yeah, it'll be great once that semi factory is all up and running, Hal, and I think this is going to be a really revolutionary product. There's obviously other vehicle makers making electric semis as well. I haven't looked too much into them. I'll have to do some research on those and see how they're doing. But I think it'll definitely help on the roads, not having these big diesel things spewing out, noxious gases and clogging up the roads because they can't make up a hill. And certainly we talked about last week a lot of the safety features of the Tesla Semi as well, which make them a lot safer than the current vehicles. So Elon in a X Spaces confirmed that Grok AI voice assistant is coming to Teslas. That'll be fantastic. I don't know when. I don't think any time frame was mentioned, but it'd be good to have that capability in the car. Especially, I know some people struggle with the voice controls. It seemed to work okay for me, but I know setting to British English was one of the tricks that apparently does help. But I do hear from people that they just can't get it to work at all. Hopefully, Grok will make that a bit more reliable. And also, just allow you to talk and use any phrase you want, basically, and it'll be able to understand what you want and do what you need. So it'll certainly expand the capabilities of the voice control over what it is currently. I don't know, have you guys have tried the voice controls too much and what you think about it, but it seems to work pretty well for me. Even some, I've used some obscure street names and city and suburbs like Gungahlin in Canberra here. It managed to pick up. So it didn't spell it right, but it managed to find it. So it was pretty good. Anyhow, talking about, we spoke about earlier about the Shanghai Megafactory, the new factory that's being built next to Shanghai Mega Factory. It's well ahead of schedule, and some figures here looking at the potential revenue. Some of the YouTubers have looked at it and done measurements, and they believe it's 2 to 3 times the size of the current Lathrop factory. So that could be a massive revenue stream for Tesla. The rate of revenue from those Megapacks currently is just been skyrocketing over the last couple of years. As soon as this comes online, it's going to be absolute massive. There's just so much demand for them. We've got cities and countries waiting years for them at the moment. So when they can start pumping these things out, it'll be fantastic. So FSD 12.5.6 is currently out, being tested, and one of the things that was noted by AI Driver was that the visualizations are so much smoother now. And Ashok Goswami, who's the head of FSD, replied to AI Driver on X, saying that they found a bug that's been there for 4 years, so that should help improve the visualizations we see as well, hopefully, that do sort of jibber a bit. But now apparently they're dead steady, and I've seen a couple of videos now that look fantastic. So definitely makes a big difference. So another improvement there. One of the new things with this new FSD, they've got different modes as they've always had with the chill. They now call it chill, average, and hurry. But they're now actually displayed on the screen, and they're sort of more intuitive. You can use the left scroll wheel now to change from them on the fly as you're driving along. So you just left and right, you can go from chill to average to hurry, depending on what mood you're in or whatever. And it just change how assertive the FSD model will react. So yeah, some really good videos showing up on these latest versions, and some really fantastic just being able to think about what's happening in front of it. There was one of a semi doing a big turn, and the car just knew to get out of the way of the semi, move over, give it room. Waymo is definitely not going to do that. It's got no sort of thought process at all. It's just going to look at what's in front of it. So yeah, the current videos are just looking absolutely fantastic, and obviously version 13 is another step change above. And like I said, the fact they were willing to have 50 odd vehicles driving around with people walking and riding and interacting all around them tells me they're pretty happy with the progress. Yeah, interesting. Lane change has been pretty good for me. There are a couple of situations I've had where it fails, and it's usually going from right to left. The Hume Highway heading towards Melbourne, there's kind of a area there where the camber of the road's pretty steep, and it kind of bails out halfway through going from right to left. I've found, if I hold the wheel and kind of force it, it keeps going and gets there. I think, as you mentioned on X, it doesn't do the auto lane change on a undivided road where you've got an overtaking lane. But I definitely find it fantastic for long drives. I'll be doing the Canberra to Brisbane ride again in a few weeks' time, and I'll definitely be using that, using EAP for that whole trip. Yes, that's another thing that I didn't mention actually. AI5. I'm not sure if AI5 was in those vehicles. don't think it's ready yet, but Elon did mention that it would have AI5, and it does have a front camera as well. And he did mention that part of the AI5 will be having more than enough processing power to be able to do some distributed processing and that kind of thing. So it'll be interesting to see. But look, Hardware 3 currently is working. The front camera was interesting when they did their first iteration of actual Smart Summon, was that the vehicle was reversing slightly a couple of feet to check the front, but then they took that away with the second iteration. So they obviously decided that wasn't necessary. But yeah, look, it'll be interesting. That if they decide a front camera is required, they'll retrofit them. That is part of the agreement for people who've purchased FSD. But at this stage, obviously, they did try it with the new Model 3 and removed it as part of during the production process. It'll be interesting to see if the new Model Y comes with one or not. And yeah, I guess we'll just have to watch and see. Yeah, I don't know if they'll. It's obviously a very legacy auto ICE event, so I don't know if it'll come or not at some point. It'll come at some point, but there's obviously be a lot of resistance to that happening. Okay, so a change of location to the new Coffs Harbour site, which has been planned. So this new location is at the Big Banana. So there's currently a 2-stall sled there in the small car park. This is down the back of the bigger car park. Word is they're looking at a 12-plus station V4 site. There's obviously the shopping centre down the road a bit, but which has also got I think there was 4 or 6 sites, 4 or 6 V3, I think, from memory. But yeah, it'd be great to see a bigger site there. And it'll be easy access both from the current road, but also the new highway up here that'll come through and eventually bypass Coffs Harbour. We'll still have decent access to this location, so it should be a lot better than the current situation. So that's good to see. We've also got a new site at Narrabri that's being currently construction has started as far as getting enough infrastructure in, looking like a 4-stall. There was talk of a 6-stall there, so we don't know for certain. But that's another one coming up. And NRMA had some stats they released this week. So this is their annual report. They're saying that total of 85 fast charger sites, with 18 sites added in the past 12 months. So they've got 68 in New South Wales, 10 in South Australia, 3 in Northern Territory, 3 in WA, and 1 in Victoria. They've got a total of 237 plugs, they say, and have a target of 250 sites, 800 plugs by 2027, including 180 fast charging sites in regional Australia. So NRMA is certainly getting them out there. And yeah, that's correct, Kev. That Narrabri site will certainly help that Adelaide to Brisbane. I think there's only Tenterfield to somewhere else. That's kind of the longest leg for that one now. And everything else, even the Tenterfield, I think it's just doable in a short range Model 3. So certainly, that leg now is definitely doable with all Tesla chargers once this Narrabri site comes online. Good luck with that, Hal. Definitely, Megapack's an exciting industry, and there's certainly a lot of demand for it. So that would be a good role for sure. Definitely best of luck. Let us know how it goes. So yeah, Kev sent this through on X during the week. The beauty of being paid to charge your car. Fantastic to see. I've seen as low as minus 85 cents or something around there, I think was my record. So yeah, look, it's really a cheat code for life when you can get paid to use electricity and you're not paying for gas, you're getting paid to charge your car. So on that, I just copied the latest version of the Amber charging setup. So I showed the alpha version of this quite some time ago now. This is now in beta. I think everyone has access to it now. But these are the settings I've been using. You can see there you've got various controls, and they keep adding new things all the time. So you've got the charge level based controls. You can modify all these. So I've got it set to 25% is my recovery. So from below 25, I'll charge for anything up to 10 cents per kilowatt hour. And when I'm above 25%, I'll only charge when the power is either free or I'm getting paid to charge. So that's fantastic. It means I'm currently keeping my car around 50% and just having the opportunity to charge when the price goes negative, get paid to charge. So at worst, I'm paying nothing for my charging, and definitely making some money when it goes negative. Yeah, Mark, I've got 2 power walls, so it certainly makes it easy. And never having to pay for power is fantastic, and getting paid to use power is even better. So, like I said, it's really a cheat code for transportation. So on top of that, I've got that running as one of my rules, and there's a second rule I've got running as well. You can have both running together, where if my batteries are full and the feed-in tariff goes below zero or goes to zero or below, it'll divert any solar energy coming into the battery, into the car. So I'm not feeding in solar energy when it's negative. I'm making sure that goes to the car as well. So it all combines to make sure my car gets charged up and stays, I'm pretty much keeping it in that 40 to 70% range at the moment. And then I'll charge it up every now and again to 100%. If it hasn't done it by itself when these prices go to negatives every week or two. So that's working well for me. And yeah, the other new one is the minimized charging from batteries, so that I'm always charging either at free prices or negative from the grid or from my solar, rather than using my battery, which I can then use to export later on and make some money. So look, Amber has been fantastic. If you've got batteries, I do know some people have used it without batteries. I don't know. That'd be a lot of work, I think. With batteries, you can just set the automation to do everything for you and not have to think about it, and just be earning money from your power rather than paying for power. I have got a video there if anyone's interested in looking into that further. There's also a referral code that gives you, I think, $30 bonus if you sign up. But yeah, that's our slides for tonight. Definitely interested if anyone's got any thoughts on any of that stuff that was covered. We certainly had a bit of a chat going through, which is great. Yeah, that's the danger, is that you can get spikes that can go into the $15 per kilowatt type ranges, which is fantastic if you've got batteries, because that's when you start pumping everything out to the grid. And that's where I'd love to see vehicle to grid as well, and start being able to use the vehicle battery to help with that that load shedding. But people do it. I don't know how that works, but it's definitely a fantastic opportunity. You charge your batteries up for next to nothing, either via solar or very cheap prices when that's the grid's overborne, and then dump it all out at night time when it's more expensive. Okay, I haven't heard of that one, Hal. Is that another provider like Amber? Or are they just a cheaper alternative than the standard ones? Yeah, I've seen some really good prices, so definitely works well. Oh, okay, Hal. Yep. Yeah, so there's been quite a few pins moved around, and some of them have been added to coming soon and that kind of thing. But yeah, the Coffs Harbour one definitely jumped out, and I heard a bit more information on that one. That's why I was sort of more confident in that one as far as what's going to happen. So it sounds like it's going to be a fairly large site, and that came from a fairly reputable source. So it'll be definitely handy for those Brisbane trips for myself and anyone using that East Coast corridor. No worries, Hal. Yeah, no, it's definitely good to see some of these Chinese brands coming out. There's more and more of them all the time, so that's fantastic. Definitely, the more competition in the market, the better. The more options and the more different styles of vehicles and that kind of thing. Anyone else got any other bits of information for this week? Definitely an exciting time. I think the next couple of months will be interesting to see how everything closes out for the year. See how many of those predictions come true. And hi, Pigbit, how you going? Yeah, we'll see what happens the rest of the year and see how the records go as far as Model Y maintaining its positions. And see what comes out with FSD, whether we sort of see that in Australia in the next 6 months. It'll be fantastic, or next 6 to 8 months, I guess. Should be some exciting news coming, hopefully. Anyhow, we'll close it off there. Thanks again for coming along and getting involved in the chat. Definitely appreciated. Please leave us a like if you don't mind. That helps support the channel. Anyone who isn't subscribed, please subscribe. Like we said, we've also got that Ko-fi link now. Thanks to Sensei for putting us into that. Definitely appreciate any support. It helps keep the channel going, and hopefully get some better equipment and bits and pieces as well, and start making a better production. I'll hopefully have a couple of videos coming out soon, pre-recorded. I haven't had time to do them for a little while now, so I definitely want to get a couple more of those out. A bit of a review of the car now that I've had it for a little while, that kind of thing. And other than that, we'll see you again next week, and hopefully some more great news. Thanks, guys. Catch you later.